Welcome back to our Chapter 1, Introduction to the World of Forensic Accounting lecture. We are going to be discussing Learning Objective 4, Identify the Necessary Skills of Forensic Accountants. 3 essential characteristics or skills identified in this study and consistent with experiences of forensic accountants are critical thinking, reasoning, and communication. So commonly identified attributes of critical thinkers include rationale, where you consider all known evidence in an unbiased manner, where you are skeptical, you suspend judgment to allow proper consideration of evidence, context, and methodologies. Reasonable, you measure behavior and conclusions with sound judgment and common sense. Forensic accountants tend to be well informed. You possess adequate and reliable information. Open-minded, free of bias and receptive to new information and ideas from others. Self-aware, you're cognizant of one's own emotions and biases and how they can impact your decisions. And persistent, resists jumping to conclusions. Reasoning is a problem-solving skill that involves drawing inferences or conclusions from known or assumed facts. Reasoning is closely associated with critical thinking in that it is a rational process of attempting to understand an event or behavior. Forensic accountants use both deductive and inductive reasoning to identify clues and patterns of behavior, gather and evaluate evidence, question arguments, and develop conclusions. In deductive reasoning, which is defined as reasoning from the general to the specific, or from the premises to a logically valid conclusion. So you first identify 2 or more general premises, either known or assumed to be true, and then you apply these accepted truths to a specific situation. Importantly, deductive conclusions are statements of certainty that imply 100% confidence. In contrast to deductive reasoning, we have inductive reasoning. And inductive reasoning is where you're drawing conclusions from patterns. The inductive reasoning process flows from a set of specific observations, fact, or data to a working hypothesis, and then a general conclusion, more from the bottom up. Forensic accounting skills. In forensic accounting, where there is often a wide knowledge gap between the expert and the audience, this may be the most challenging part of the process. So forensic accountants are expected to have strong communication skills, written and oral. Forensic accountants expect their reports and every word contained in those reports to be closely examined and challenged. All written reports, especially the final fraud examination report, must be clear, concise, but also comprehensive and grammatically correct with a professional tone. A forensic accountant must also be skilled in oral communication, whether the communication is with an attorney, a client, a law enforcement officer, a judge, a jury. The ability to relate findings in a simple, professional, and convincing manner is a critical success factor for a forensic accountant. Communication failure is often caused by a misunderstanding of the relative importance of the 3 components of oral communication. 1, body language, which accounts for roughly 55% of the message. 2, voice tone, which accounts for 35% of the message. And 3, words, which account for only 10% of the message. Therefore, nonverbal cues are critical. How you say it is more important than what you say. Forensic accountants demands different skills from those employed than a traditional accountant. So in addition to all the core accounting skills that you need to have, forensic accountants must have a working knowledge of the judicial process, the legal environment, and the underlying concept of evidence, discovery, and legally sufficient opinions. So successful forensic accountants must have specialized knowledge in a variety of practice areas. such as business valuation and fraud investigations.